So hey, thank you guys for tuning in. This is Tom from KWA. I'm here with Thomas, our law enforcement specialist, and we're here with a special guest, Figgy. He's from Team LTD, and he's also a Glock specialist himself. So, hey, how you guys doing?
Cool,
Good, good.
man.
So,
Yeah. So hey, Figgy, I'm really glad that you're here with us. The point of this course is to guide the people at home who, might want to get into training with airsoft, or, they might be a new gun user and have no idea how to operate their Glock. So, Thomas, do you want to get into some of the things that we're going to cover today?
Yeah, so Figgy here, he's his specialty is aftermarket parts, modifying both real guns and airsoft guns. His website and his company is Dark Side Precision, and they specialize in aftermarket upgrades to popular pistols. Figgy, you want to tell us a little about Dark Side?
so I started the company roughly about 2 years ago. And I started it because, I obviously like to tinker with airsoft guns. And once I was of age, I started shooting real guns. So, of course, I couldn't leave a gun stock. I had to find what best suits me. And along with that came, tricking out my buddies' guns, and then so on and so forth. It grew into, starting the company. And that's how it came about. And our specialty is Glocks. So we do some other modifications to other popular handguns, like you said, M&Ps, STIs, SIGs, that kind of thing. But we're based out of here, Los Angeles, California, and we ship worldwide. We meet up with people locally, and we do a lot of work with military and local law enforcement as well.
Sweet. One of the things I want to ask you, I know they refer to you guys, you as one of the three, one of the trinities of LTD. You want to tell us a little bit about your two other partners on LTD?
Yeah, I mean, I don't like to refer to myself as that, but some people do.
Yeah.
And the other two would be Manny Orsini and David Soto. And special shout out to Gabe out there because he doesn't like being left out. He's what we consider the Pope. So we're the Trinity.
Oh,
And he's
Yeah,
quiet. He's just kind of in the background. All right. So what we're gonna go over now that
yeah,
we know your background,
exactly.
we want to go over like a lot of the maintenance issues and what to do when you have a problem, or what to do when you get that first pistol, whether it's a real gun or an airsoft gun. So you want to walk us through? I'll give you a scenario. So say I'm a first time gun owner and I came home and I bought that Glock or a KWA ATP or a KWA 1911. Run us through what would do first once you pop open that box. Function test, lubrication. What do I need to do to make sure that I'm ready to go as soon as I open that box?
So I mean, obviously, before you open it, you'll go ahead and get into safety on all that. But setting that aside, once you get your gun, I got my own personal Glock here. The first thing you want to do is obviously treat it like it's loaded. So unload it, downgrade the weapon, and then Glocks actually from the factory they come with the factory lubricant that's bronze in color.
Hmm.
So they already come good to go. And ready to rock. If you decide to, say, use or get an aftermarket slide from myself or another company like that, a lot of times they have tighter tolerances. So you might need to lubricate them, and then that would be according to Glock specifications. So it's literally just 3-4 drops in certain places along the barrel, on the inside of the slide, and on the slide rails themselves, and then that they're good to go. And that's one of the reasons why a lot of people like Glocks, just because of the simplicity of them, and they're known for running dry, dirty, through any kind of condition basically.
Right, right. What about anything specific toward airsoft? What is it you got to look out for? I know KWAs come from the factory, pretty lubricated, um, and we know lubricant kind of helps with anti-corrosion, also helps with metal parts or a lot of wear and tear parts. What do we got to look for specifically for airsoft?
Specifically for airsoft, let's say the KWA, the ATP. I also got one of those in front of me right here. The main, I guess, parts that you would look out for where the main metal contact part would be up here on the barrel hood, where the barrel hood meets the inside of the slide is one part, as well as internally on the rails that I spoke of earlier. It would be basic, very, very little maintenance on airsoft guns because you don't want to obviously over lube them, and that'll cause a lot of dust and debris to get attracted to the gun that might not need those necessarily. Like you said, they come lubed from the factory. So just minor spots for lubrication would be okay for the long term of the weapon itself.
Got it. Tom, you got any questions, man?
Yeah. So hey, I'm really new to guns in general. I'm actually even pretty new to airsoft as well. But now that I'm considering buying a gun and I have a ATP at home to practice with, what do you recommend me to do as far as like my first type of training?
As far as first type of real steel training?
Well, using the ATP platform and training with a couple targets I have at home.
So one of the very first things would be understanding how your trigger works as far as Glocks, and I know the ATP have kind of what we call a two-stage trigger. So you'll have that take up, you'll hit a wall, and then you'll have the break, which will go ahead and fire the weapon, very similar to Glocks. So that's one of the many similarities that they have. So it would be one, knowing that trigger and knowing that weapon itself. Then two, doing something simple like lining up your sights, getting used to a sight picture. A lot of people who are actually new to shooting, which is one of the most common things, is they'll try closing one eye to focus on that front sight, when in reality they should learn to be shooting with both eyes open. And that's actually one thing that's very hard to overcome for a lot of new shooters. So when you're training, with your pistol, it would be sight alignment, sight picture, as well as knowing your trigger and practicing your trigger press.
So I actually I learned a little bit from Thomas about lining up your sights, right? So you wanna line up the dots on top of the sights. Now, when I try it, I naturally close one eye. Like it's extremely hard for me to know how to aim with both eyes open. What are some tricks that maybe both of you guys could offer to me?
One thing that I've seen, I haven't tried it myself, but one thing that I've seen while taking classes through other people and other instructors in the real steel industry would be exactly what Thomas is doing there, is closing one eye, closing your more dominant eye, or even getting, what a lot of people do is you have shooting glasses on, take chapstick and rub it over your dominant eyesight. So what that'll do is it'll make your non-dominant eyesight, say my left eyeball, it'll make me focus more and it'll make me keep that eye open. And that's one of the tricks that I've seen. So chapstick on your shooting glasses to kind of blur out that side and make you actually focus and use your other eye.
So basically what he's saying is you'll see a lot of Olympic style shooters do this, but they have this little thing that covers one of their eyes, right? So when you're aiming, you have both eyes open, but you're using your right eye to focus. But if you look, you still have both eyes open. You're just artificially covering one, and that'll help you kind of focus more on your dominant eye and where you line up your sights. That's an excellent question, Tom. One of the things I use on my real guns is bore snakes to clean out the barrel. What do you use for your real guns, and what do you use to clean out your barrel for airsoft? Because I know they don't make a 6mm bore snake.
Yeah, I actually have one right here. So I like to use just a regular, I don't know if you'll be able to see it, a cleaning rod, small cleaning rod, and something like a little piece of toilet paper or some Kleenex or something like that. Run that through, and being careful not to run it through the bucking area, because you could damage the hop up or whatnot. So basically, cleaning anywhere forward of that bucking, cleaning out the barrel, and then just in the end, I'll take like a spray can, like one of these canisters, just
compressed air.
Yeah, basically compressed air, just to blow through any minor pieces of tissue paper or anything that might have gotten stuck along the barrel. And that's what I use for airsoft. And then for real steel, I use the same thing as you. Just use a bore snake, run it through a couple times until it's all clear.
Okay, yeah. Leads me to another point, and this is kind of important for new gun owners and airsoft. So in real guns, the inside of the barrel has rifling, and that basically means that there's grooves cut inside the barrel that help your bullet travel, and it gives it a spiraling motion. So with your bore snake, you're actually supposed to only go one direction. Mm-hmm. And it's from the breech to the muzzle, and you can only go that way because if you go the other way, you risk damaging the inside of your real gun barrel. Now with airsoft, since there is no rifling, there is no real one direction to do it. So Figgy, correct me if I'm wrong. So could you clean your airsoft gun from your muzzle end toward the bucking and not touch your bucking, as to not risk it?
Yeah, so if you don't have the knowledge to take it down and fully strip, take out your bucking, so you only have your barrel, that's what I would recommend, going from the end of the muzzle, taking it out and looking and actually visually seeing where you should stop right before the bucking, then cleaning it out. That would be the easiest way that I recommend. If you can, best way would be, of course, to strip it all down completely, run it all the way through so you get everything. Dry the bucking out, clean the bucking, if there's any dirt on that, so on and so forth.
Yeah, got it. And then one of the other things too, so even though our ATP is not a licensed Glock, KDA's actually manufactured ATPs to fit in a lot of duty holsters. It looks like your typical polymer frame striker fire. But one of the things that's important to us, and this is for the law enforcement side, is our ATPs actually take down like a real Glock. And Figgy, I know you have your ATP in front of you there. Could you just show us real quick? I know it's like 3 steps. Could you show us real quick how you would take apart the slide on an ATP?
Yeah, let me grab it real quick for you. Make sure it's clear. So take down a real Glock. Take down an ATP. You got the ATP here. You have your takedown lever, which would be the same on a real Glock. And all you're going to do is just pull the slide back a little bit, pull down on that down lever, slide it forward, and then slide, recoil spring will all come out. So super simple. Just pull down on that takedown lever, slide it forward, and there you go. It's already stripped into 2 pieces.
Cool.
And I see a clear difference. Definitely. When it comes to airsoft versus the real steel. Can you walk over with someone like me who's training with airsoft for now? Like what are the actual limitations compared to real guns?
So limitations, obviously, you need to be aware of that when you're using real steel to train with airsoft, using airsoft to train with real steel, and vice versa. Obviously, for one, is recoil. The recoil isn't going to be the same as it is on a real gun. You'll still get that sensation, but you won't need to control the gun as much or apply as much pressure as you normally would with a gun. So that can cause, I guess, bad habits or bad training if you're, not gripping the gun tight enough or not, applying pressure in the correct manner. And you go start shooting your real steel and you use that same grip technique. You're not gonna be shooting as well as you possibly could. Another thing would be obviously distance you can shoot at. Airsoft guns can't shoot anywhere close to a real steel gun. So to train with that, what I've seen is a lot of people will use basically shrunken or minimized targets. So your regular targets that you would use for real steel, basically shrinking them down to a certain percentage that would simulate a far distance, when in reality you're not shooting as far, but because the target is smaller, it seems like that. So there's ways to kind of get around the limitations. It's obviously just being aware of them and being conscious as you're practicing these throughout, your training day.
And on the opposite end of that topic, what are the similarities that I could really benefit from using airsoft?
Some of the similarities are obviously, one of the biggest things to me would be dry fire practice, or not being able to, obviously, during this time, a lot of people can't go to the range. So I've seen a lot of people, ASM Caver, Sam with Trim, a lot of them are, using airsoft to go ahead and train, in their backyard, setting up targets, just doing simple things like going from one position standing to another position kneeling, transitioning, using your left, right. And that would be very beneficial to a lot of new people, like how you're saying you're new, just to do simple things like practice, okay, keeping my eyes open, focusing on the sights, focusing on the target. And then, the opposite, I guess, kind of more advanced spectrum would be using airsoft for actual force on force. If you're taking a class, say, with someone, or, just going out and playing, using what you learn in a real steel class and applying that, when you go out in public play, when you go out in competitive play. And that kind of training is a little more advanced, but it has so many benefits for the real steel aspect.
Yeah, that's great information. And for someone like me, it's extremely helpful to understand that. Um, Thomas, we also talked about, some of the fundamental things a couple of days ago. And are there anything that, maybe we should ask Figgy about?
Um, yeah. So I know when we talked before, Figgy, we've talked about, we've taken, pistol courses and maybe a carbine class here. What's one of the things you think? Obviously, there's a ton of upside to taking practical pistol shooting classes. And you said the thing that stood out to me was you said that you approach airsoft differently after taking a real gun class. What's some of the things you take from taking a real gun class into airsoft? I know you said something about you're more deliberate in your shots, your shot placement, and the single shot, single tap type thing. Can you explain that?
Yeah, so like I talked to you before, a lot of the times when I first started playing airsoft, it was more about running as fast as you can, shooting as much as you can, kind of being all over the place. And as I've gotten older, gotten into real steel, taking some classes, my style has kind of changed into being more slow, more methodical, more tactile. Not shooting as much because you don't need to. You only need to shoot once or twice if you're doing what you need to, as far as lining up your sights, or if you're running a red dot, putting that red dot on target. Yeah. Doing simple things like that. It slows down your pace, but you become a lot more efficient in your movements, in your shots. And for me, like I said, personally, it's changed the way I've played. Because I don't need to be, I'm not like these young guys. I don't need to be running around hurting myself all the time. When I can do, simple stuff like just, getting that one ball kill, or, being slow and methodical, like you alluded to.
Got it, man. That's awesome, dude. And then a follow-up question to that: how do you think that changed your team's dynamic in terms of, obviously you guys are reigning champs for Speed QB, and you've won, several other high-profile airsoft tournaments. How do you think that affects you guys as a team, and kind of how you guys represent the airsoft community on the competitive side?
I think it makes us a hybrid team. A lot of these teams are leaning either towards milsim or towards what people call speed soft, which is that running and gunning all over the place, shooting as much as you can. It almost makes us a hybrid. You know, a lot of people when they play us, they're not necessarily worried about us, you know, dumping whole magazines into them. They're more worried about us sneaking up behind them and using our tactics and our communication in that sense. So it's changed our, you know, our team into this hybrid of being, you know, half real still, half airsoft. But you know, combining the best that we can into that and into our gameplay to be, you know, as effective and winning as much as we have over the past couple of years.
Yeah, true, man. That's cool. As a tidbit too, I don't know if we've gotten an answer to this in terms of the airsoft community, but I know LTD's you know, their theme is woodland camo, or it's woodland, right? Woodland and black.
Yeah.
Can you explain how that? Yeah, can you explain where that started? I'm sure everyone's been dying to know.
To be honest, our original colors, original team colors, were actually tan or coyote pants and black tops, and that's, you know, what we came out, you know, of the gates using. It kind of became, you know, an iconic symbol, you know, as far as the team colorways goes. And you know, and of course with, you know, being popular, a lot of people start to wear it, and then you just see everyone wearing, you know, black and tan. So a couple years ago, not too, I want to say maybe 2 years ago, we just recently switched over to woodland as it became a little bit more easily accessible to get the type of pants we wear. So it wasn't necessarily like, oh, we, you know, we're more tactical, so we want to switch to M81 or anything like that. It was just kind of, you know, we always thought it was cool. We don't see, you know, anyone really rocking it. Everyone's, you know, usually wearing bright colors in you know, the Speedsoft world. So we like being different. You know, that goes back to our roots of only playing with pistols and shotguns. So we decided to wear M81.
So yeah, for those of you who don't know, but M81 is the original, you know, green and brown camo, kind of like on Figgy's hat. I think in the last few years it's made a resurgence in the tactical world, that, you know, it's been referred to as God's plaid. Like that's what they call it. So man, it's cool to see that on your team. Man, that's awesome. Tom, what do you got, man? Any other questions?
Not too much questions, but I just wanna shout out to you, Figgy, and all of LTD. I think you guys are holding it down for the entire airsoft community, not just, you know, SpeedQB, but the entirety, because of, you know, how you guys present yourself, who you guys represent. So hats off to you guys. Salute. And you know, I think this is a good point to kind of wrap this video up. Again, I appreciate you for coming on. I think, you know, we'll have maybe 1 or 2 more videos which we might ask you to join us again. But yeah, for now, thank you for your time, man.
And just real quick shout out. During this time, like we've posted on social media, I think it's important to support small businesses. So I just want to give a big shout out to Project N1. Yep. We started a GoFundMe account for them to go ahead and kind of inspire other people to support their local business, their local, you know, field, their local manufacturer, whether it's, you know, KWA, Project N1. And not just the airsoft community, but you know, go to your local mom and pop place to order food, to buy product, whatever you can during this time. Do your best to support, you know, your local and small business communities. I think that's really important during this time. And I'd love to be on some more videos. So if you guys have any more questions or anything like that, thank you, LTD. Thank you for myself, and thank you for everyone for putting out these videos that are going to be very informative for people, both in the airsoft community and the real steel community as well.
Yeah, and for those who don't know, but the GoFundMe, there's a tier in there where if you choose to be generous and donate at a certain tier, you guys can get signed up for one of LTD's classes, and it's a fundamentals class, right? The dark arts.
Yeah.
Awesome. So I'm signed up for that. I donated. And we got one more question for you, Figgy, and this is kind of like our closing. But this is a hot seat question. Are you ready for it?
Yeah, go for it.
All right, here we go. Are you wearing pants?
Yes, I am.
Let's see.
I'm wearing gray sweats right now. I don't know.
Everybody, we're gonna get everybody. We're gonna catch someone wearing
Thomas,
box
what are you wearing?
shorts. What's that? I got sweats on.
Oh, there we go.
I got sweats on, and I got
Right.
So
Staying comfy.
all right, guys.
All right. Well, hey, that's it for this video. Thank you guys so much, and till next time. Thank you guys.
Thank you.